say, hey, you know what? I live in a pretty great country. President Trump is calm, on point, on his game. And unlike the last guy, he is competent and coherent.
Come on, man.
We're not bending the knee anymore. We're here to take a stand for God and country.
This is the Steve Gruber Show.
And welcome aboard for a free-for-all Friday. Man, we've got a lot to cover here today. That is for sure. I'm glad you're here with us. The Patriot Mobile Common Sense Hotline, 877-310-9966. Three big things to start this hour. Number one, President Trump has sent letters to 17 pharmaceutical companies to begin the conversation about lowering your drug prices in America. Great idea. Number two, South Korea becomes the latest country to hammer out a U.S. trade deal. This one came in with $350 billion for America. Keep tallies, folks. That's $600 billion from the Japanese, $350 billion from the South Koreans, $1.4 trillion from the EU. And number three, here's where we started today. Hillary Clinton should be in jail. Period. Hillary Clinton should be in jail today. And so should several other high-ranking members of the Obama administration as the truth continues to come out. Hillary Clinton knew she was in deep trouble with her own actual email scandal. You know, the one destroying emails and the phones with hammers and iPads. 33,000 emails that went missing, destroyed both physically with a program called BeachBit and then actually with hammers to the devices. So Hillary and her team decided to cook up a harebrained scheme that would paint Donald Trump as a Russian asset that was getting assistance by Russian election interference. It was all made up and paid for. First facilitated by Perkins Coie, the dirty law firm where Mark Elias works. That's what we've learned in the latest document dump, and it keeps coming. Senator Chuck Grassley of Iowa is not stopping any of this, unclassifying piles of these documents, piles of them. And then when Trump won, Barack Obama overturned his own intel community. It said such an allegation was complete garbage and paid for and unreliable. He said, that's not what we want. Turned it into an ongoing scheme to destroy President Trump. That's what he did. Let's go through the timeline a little bit. And the latest information, by the way. I'll get to the timeline here, but if you've missed this part, it's important. They've got text messages now from the Hillary Clinton team, and it might be Hillary directly. We have to see the text messages and emails. Hillary Clinton asking for Joe Biden, then Vice President Joe Biden, to jump into this July 2016 and say that Trump has a Russia problem. Biden delivered in two speeches and at the DNC, at the convention. Two speeches before that, and then at the DNC saying Donald Trump has a Russia problem. He delivered for her. And then January 2017 gets more complicated. More names are on the list of those to be prosecuted. Debbie Wasserman Schultz, the former DNC chair, Congresswoman from Florida, high up in Democratic circles for a long time, becomes the envoy to George Soros and his operation. George Soros gets tangled up in all of this. Of course he does. Money's important. Networks are important. It all happens one step after another. And the Mar-a-Lago raid, just for salt into the wound, the Mar-a-Lago raid was a search for documents, intel community assessments, other key bits of evidence of Crossfire Hurricane. Had nothing to do with Donald Trump having documents that had the wrong stamp on them. Nothing at all to do with that. That was just a smoke screen to get into his house to go through the documents to try to hide it. If they had just gone to the room with the burn bags, they could have solved all of this. If they had just gone to the room with the burn bags, they could have solved all of this. But they didn't. They didn't. That's for sure. All right, so it begins July 2016 when they expect Hillary Clinton to win anyway. They're creating a distraction. It was a distraction created to get people to look away from her email scandal and all the things she had done with an open, vulnerable email system that was not authorized. That happened through the summer and fall of 2016. They put out and salted this whole idea of a Russian alliance with Donald Trump. November 8th, 2016, of course, Donald Trump defeats Hillary Clinton, one of the great upsets in political history. He carries Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania and is on to the White House. December 7th, These are the important dates. December 7th, 2016, James Clapper delivers as the DNI, the Director of National Intelligence, this. Foreign adversaries did not use cyber attacks on election infrastructure to alter the U.S. presidential election outcome. That's the quote in the ICA. They didn't do it. The Russians didn't do it. It further says they didn't have the ability to do it. It's a deliberate shift in the IC's public stance because it comes immediately because President Obama then convenes a meeting 2 days later. You know about this meeting in the White House in the Situation Room. James Clapper, CIA Director John Brennan, National Security Advisor Susan Rice, Secretary of State John Kerry. First time we've heard his name in this. Attorney General Loretta Lynch, Deputy FBI Director Andrew McCabe. They're all there to say, you know what? That's not what we want the ICA to say. We want the ICA to say that Donald Trump is connected to the Russians. We want to smear him before he ever takes the oath of office, and smear they did, and away they went. December 9th and 10th, leaks to the Washington Post, leaks to the New York Times, who went on to get Pulitzer Prizes for something that they never really researched because it was all a fake story. They didn't do their job. They should return those prizes immediately. All right, December 2016, John Brennan writes to his staff, there is strong consensus among us on the scope, nature, and intent of Russian interference in our presidential election, which completely contrasts pre-election assessments and the assessments right up until December the 7th. It goes on. January 2017, the release of the intelligence community assessment. You see, they gave that to Donald Trump. They briefed him on this so they could use that and say, well, he's been briefed on this. They did it so they could release it to the news media and further smear and undermine then President-elect Donald Trump. Then, of course, we go through all the Inspector General reports, but the real deal are these burn bags and the evidence that they forgot to get rid of, the raid on Mar-a-Lago, which means they have no protection from the statute of limitations because their conspiracy was ongoing. The conspiracy was ongoing, still ongoing today, I would suggest. Let's dive into it. Free for All Friday. Free speech, Free for All Friday, powered by the Patriot Mobile Common Sense Hotline, 877-310-9966. 877-310-9966. For the first time, folks, I honestly believe people are going to prison. I honestly believe the evidence is so overwhelming and it continues to come out every day. Thank God for Chuck Grassley. What is he, 90 years old, state of Iowa? Been there forever. He's been doggedly following this story patiently, slowly, getting it done. I guess we'll get back to the phone calls in a moment. I run out of time already. Oh, unbelievable. That's what happens when you have a scandal of this magnitude. Your phone calls after the break. Don't worry, Russell, Greg, Patrick, Fred, I'll get to all of you. America, I want to hear what you have to say, all right? It's Free for All, Free Speech Friday again, 877-310-9966. I'll be right back. Yeah, maybe this is why. This will be my counterpoint to term limits. Chuck Grassley's been there for like 6 terms. And thank God he has. Thank God they didn't have term limits in the state of Iowa. Because if we had, we wouldn't be learning everything we're learning right now, America. That's a fact. Again, Hillary Clinton should be in jail today. It appears that John Brennan, James Clapper, Andy McCabe, Susan Rice, and a host of others maybe should be there with her. Let's get on the line and talk about it. 877-310-9966. I'm going to start with Russell. He is in upstate New York. Russell, welcome to Free for All Friday.
Yeah, how are you, Steve? I love your show.
Thank you. Go.
I just wanted to, maybe you could clear up the sedition and treason, the separation, and what are we going to push that subject?
Well, sedition and treason are different. I mean, treason's very narrow here in the Constitution. Right. It's a very narrow, and it has to be witnessed by another person, and so on and so forth. Sedition, that's different. That's a more wide open lane for these folks, right?
Oh, okay. Yes.
Anyhow, sedition is a chance for them to seditious behavior, trying to undermine they tried to undermine the president-elect. They tried to undermine the presidency, and they did it quite successfully for a number of years. It is criminal behavior. Right. And again, Hillary Clinton should be in jail today, and so should all the cohorts involved with this. I don't know what happens to Barack Obama and all this, but if he did one thing after 12 noon, on the 20th of January 2017, he should be joining them. And I've never thought that. I always thought it was a good idea to keep American presidents out of jail. That's what happens in third world countries. But what happened here is a third world maneuver to try to undercut the duly elected president of these United States. By God, hold these people accountable. That's what I think. Right. Thank you, Russell.
Yes.
Greatly appreciate it. Let's go to Greg in Indiana. Greg, I don't know if anybody's as fired up as I am, but I am frankly pissed.
I watch the show a couple times a day. I think it all started back in 2014 when we overthrew the Ukrainian government and our military-industrial deep state complex started the war, and Trump was a peacemaker, and he would have probably stopped it before, where it is right now.
Well, Greg, I think that's a bit early. Donald Trump hadn't even come down the escalator then. But is Ukraine part of a bigger mess in this world? It is, because we have a lot of things going on over there, biolabs, money laundering. We sent how many billions of dollars over there that we cannot track. We don't even know what happens to the money. We don't know what happens to the money, but we know that Zelensky and his family and his extended members of his administration are out buying real estate in Miami and London. That's pretty clear. Thanks for the call, Greg. Patrick is in Las Vegas. We're not gambling here. I'm going to take the over here, Patrick. I'm going to say that more than 3 people are going to prison. I'm taking the over. What's your over-under today, Patrick?
Bro, I love it. Send them all there. All of them.
All of them.
So, anyway, I'm calling in about a gentleman, Tom Hawley, wants to send the American people $600. That's terrible. Now, back in March, Doge and President Trump discussed sending people $5,000 each. So that was Doge. What about these new tariffs? We could add another $5,000 to it with a $10,000 rebate. We could move the needle on this economy and then really
Patrick,
drop the...
I appreciate the call. I don't know. I'd have to run the numbers. I haven't done that. Thank you for the call. Look, $600, I realize it's not much these days. It might be a grocery run. Might be gas for, a month while you go to work. I don't know. But the fact that they're talking about rebates at all is a shift from where we've been. I actually am of the mind that you pay down the debt before you start handing money back. We get the debt under control, pay your credit card bill, and then you go out for dinner. That's kind of my take on it. But I know there are people that could use it, people like you. Patrick, thank you for the call. Really appreciate it. We're going to go down to Fred in the free state of Florida. Fred, how are you today?
Good morning, Steve. I enjoy your show.
Thank you.
A couple of things. All this tariff that they bring in billions of dollars, I'd like to see the president mandate, put maybe $1 billion or $2 billion back in Social Security and get that off the table about going out of money. And I hope they prosecute all these people who would Russiagate, regardless of the name.
I agree with that. That's not a bad idea, Fred. Funnel the money from the tariffs back into these programs that people need, Medicaid, Social Security, the things that they need late in life when they can't go back into the workforce. Maybe their health has declined or just too old. I don't think that's the worst idea I've heard. But again, I say pay down the debt, pay off your credit cards before you go out to dinner. Let's see where we can get with that. But you're right. The solvency of these programs,
agree with that too.
Incredibly important. Fred, thank you for calling from the free state of Florida today. Look, guys, we have been lied to, cheated, stolen from for years in this country. Maybe my entire life, but no worse than what I've seen in the last few weeks as it all becomes perfectly crystal clear. We were all right. Donald Trump was right. They lied about everything. They were hooked up with George Soros and Hillary Clinton. You know who they weren't hooked up with? The Russians. Except the Russians may have amplified it some just for sport, while Vladimir Putin giggled about all of it. You over there with a smirk on his face. Cliff is in Illinois. Cliff, how are you today?
I'm doing great, thanks. Let me get right to it. I'll probably be one long run-on sentence, but excuse me for this. But it all started before Barack Obama became senator of Illinois, past the Clintons. You can ask Blagojevich about this, I'm sure. What they did to him is the same thing that they did to General Flynn. But anyway, the people behind Barack Obama to this very day are the same people before he was senator, got him into Washington, from there to be president. It's the Perkins Coie. You are right over the target, Steve. You send precedent to everything that you have been saying about this, and it even goes with what Rush Limbaugh would say.
I wish he was here. You know what?
Diddles.
Don't you wish Rush was here to weigh in on this, Cliff? I do. I think that'd be a wonderful bit of sage advice, but I'll do my level best. It's Free Speech, Free for All Friday, 877-310-9966. I'll be right back, America. All right, support for today's show comes from PuroClean's Veterans Initiative. It's the PuroVet program, investing in our nation's heroes by helping them out and operating a thriving local business. It's an opportunity for veterans. If you know one or you are one, make this phone call today, 855-PuroVet, or go to purovet.com, a chance to own a business, get a leg up, and really get welcomed home the right way. purovet.com. We're going to go right back to the phone calls. Patrick is in Pennsylvania. Patrick, what's on your mind?
Hey, how you doing, Steve? Watch your show every day and just love it. And when I'm going to see Ben, I put you on DVR, so I make sure I see you.
Attaboy.
I just want to say, it's speaking as Ultra MAGA, and I know a lot of your fans are as well, I just got to say we have to be patient. Looking at what's going on, and seeing how he started with, James Clapper and Comey and where we are right now, I believe it's going to go from here and go into the Russia collusion it is right now. And then they're going to go in the rigged election in 2020. And I think they're going to tie it all the way up into Epstein, and everything in between will be tied together. And that's what's taken so darn long. but we just got to be patient.
It's good advice, Patrick. I appreciate the call. And let me remind folks, Kash Patel was on Rogan's program weeks ago saying they had found this secret room, and people are like, yeah, okay, they found a secret room. It was full of burn bags of evidence of this conspiracy. Kash had it. He knew he had it. And now he's delivering it to the rest of us by way of Senator Grassley. So it is working very well. Take care of your health today, please. Please take care of your health. The Wellness Company is your 24-hour-a-day health service. You can get supplements. You can get the ivermectin cleanse. You can talk to doctors and health professionals 24 hours a day. Everything you need is at the Wellness Company, twc.health/Gruber. All right. Please support these people that support this program. Otherwise, I couldn't be here every day. I appreciate being here every day, working with you, talking to you. twc.health/Gruber. Go and check it out. You'll be glad you did. You'll find some great deals. You'll be healthy. Make America healthy again starts with you at the Wellness Company. I'll be right back with more of your phone calls. Back into it as we continue this Free Speech Free for All Friday, powered by Patriot Mobile's Common Sense Hotline. 877-310-9966 is the number for you to call to talk to me and share your thoughts. Let's go to Krista in Ohio. Krista, welcome to the program.
Hey, good morning, Steve. I hope you're ready for this, but I'm telling you what, we need to please, we need to prosecute everyone that pushed this famous lie. We got to push them all.
Agreed.
Push them all out. Special prosecutor. Can anybody say Matt Gaetz? This guy is a pit bull. Put him on it. Let's go ahead and order a dozen orange extra large jumpsuits, because what they have done to this country is pathetic, is sad, is criminal. Breaks my heart.
I agree with all of that. I don't know if Matt Gaetz is the one you would bring in. Maybe he is. Maybe he isn't. But a special prosecutor. They've got the federal strike force out there right now. Krista, thanks for the call. They've got the federal strike force out there right now. And they are going through this stuff and sorting it out. Now, what do you think of the comments from the Intel community members who were told to basically sit down and shut up? Because when Clapper changed everything at the behest of Barack Obama and said, oh, yeah, you're right, all of this is absolutely valid, and Russia did do all this, which they knew was false, but that's what they were told to put out. Hillary Clinton contacted Joe Biden to make sure that he would play his part, and Barack Obama played his part, and all the Intel people played their part, and then, of course, the patsy media played along. MSNBC, CNN, the New York Times, Washington Post, all the patsies played right along, because that's what they do. Because they wanted to believe it. They didn't care if it was true or not. They wanted to believe that Donald Trump had cheated somehow to win. What they didn't realize was that America had shifted away from the nonsense of the Democrat Party, and they believed in a new idea of America first. They didn't understand that. They still don't, by the way. They don't understand what MAGA is or the America First policies. They don't get it, which is sad. They can come to places like where I live and talk to people and say, look, we're tired of being left behind. We're tired of paying too much taxes. We're tired of boys and girls sports and open borders and criminals being let out free, no bail. We're tired of those things. Let's go down the line here. Ken is joining me now from Kentucky. Ken, welcome to the program.
Hello.
How are you?
I just have I'm fine. I'm here in Kentucky. I love your show, and I respect your opinion. I have one question. On a scale of 1 to 10, do you think Barack and Hillary are ever going to seriously get in trouble? On a scale of 1 to 10, what's your opinion?
Wow, back to the gambling part of it. On the over-under, I think obviously Hillary Clinton has a lot more exposure here, I believe, than Barack Obama in some ways. But if Obama played ball at any time after he left office, if he was involved anywhere, there's going to be a price to pay. And it's a great question, Ken. So here's what I was going to say. Yeah. The people that were overruled, remember, there were only 5 people involved in the ICA that went from Russia really had nothing to do with this, and they didn't have the technological capabilities to, oh, my God, Russia was completely involved with Donald Trump, and he's their agent, and he's Putin's puppet, and all that nonsense. There's a whole group of agents that were prevented from ever saying anything. I'll bet they're ready to talk now. I'll bet those people that were told to sit down and shut up are ready to stand up and say, here's what I know, and here's what I saw, and here's what I kept. I'll bet some of those folks kept some documents as well, and that's going to be the big problem for Obama, for Clinton, Brennan, Comey, all of them. All of them. Great question, Ken. I can't handicap it. I don't know, 50-50 toss a coin and hope for the best on that one, sir. Thank you for the call from Kentucky. I appreciate that. South of Kentucky, we find a big state called Texas, and that's where we find Lee today. Lee, how are you? All right, Lee, 1, 2, 3, are you there?
Yes, sir. Blessings to you and your family. Good morning.
Blessings to you. All right, what's on your mind?
I just wanted to make a comment and see what you thought. A lot of MAGA people are getting upset and this and that, and they're saying we're divided. My take on this is this whole thing is one huge jigsaw puzzle, and everything is a piece, and each piece is going to fit together, and finally we're going to get the big picture, and at that point we're going to see people put in jail or whistleblow or whatever, but Epstein is just a little piece of the puzzle that fits into another and another and another, and that's how we're going to end up finding out the whole truth.
Yeah, I'm not sure that Epstein has anything to do with any of this. Exactly. This is a creature all its own.
Everybody's all upset about Epstein. That's what I'm saying. It's just
I don't care about Epstein.
Everything's just a piece of a puzzle.
I don't care about Epstein as
What do
far
you
as
think?
let me answer your question, Lee, and thank you for the phone call. I will say this: I don't care about Epstein in relationship to this. Do I think that we should hold people accountable and pedophiles should be in prison? Yes, probably for the rest of their lives. And I think that the people that were involved in Epstein should be held to account for their criminal acts. Again, here we are. It's the same standard. If you committed egregious crimes with children, you go to prison. That's the way that works. If you committed egregious crimes to undermine the government of the United States, you go to prison. That's how that works. At least that's how it's supposed to work, and I believe it's going to. I actually, for the first time here today, honestly believe more than 50%, shall we say, on balance, people are going to go to prison for this. It's in writing. They've got text messages and emails now. Boy, are they just really freaked out. Who forgot to burn the bags? They're all in their little groups. You were supposed to burn the bags. I thought you were burning the bags. I didn't burn the bags. You were supposed to burn the bags. They're all running around in circles like a damn Bugs Bunny cartoon. Freaking out, as they should. You were supposed to burn the bags. I thought you were burning the bags. And Joe Biden says, what bags? And that's how that went on. All right, let's go down to Ronnie in California. Ronnie, welcome to it.
Hey, Steve. Good morning.
Good morning.
I got to hand it to you. You stole my thunder with your opener, because that's pretty much what I was going to say. But when Trump got in 2016, they had to figure out a way to keep him out, and they got Fauci to create that scamdemic so everybody would have mail-in ballots across the country following suit to California to help them steal it. But what I want to talk about is the vaccine that has killed tons of people that I know and friends of mine with either drop-dead heart attacks or with turbo cancer where they died in 3 months. And and Fauci has just lied to everybody. And I think we need to focus on that and how deep that whole thing went,
Yeah, I just saw a COVID director died overnight. I think maybe the Netherlands. I'm just looking it up right now. 54 years old. I'm trying to find his name here, but he died overnight. 54 years old, in charge of the COVID efforts, I believe, in the Netherlands. I don't have it right here. I just passed through my scope. I mean, things happen fast around here. We do a lot of news coverage. I've got people behind the curtain over here. I've got Ivy and Anthony and me and Sarah and all these people. We're skimming and reading all the time to make sure you get the latest news here. I'll find that name for you in the break. It is Free Speech, Free for All Friday, powered by Patriot Mobile. God bless those guys. Look, if you want a phone that does what you need, America's only Christian conservative wireless network, it's Patriot Mobile. You can actually get 2 lines on the same device. 2 different lines, 2 different phone numbers, 2 different providers. Nobody can offer that. If you want a secret line where you just talk to your wife and kids and don't do business, you can do it with Patriot Mobile. Check it out, patriotmobile.com. Promo code Gruber for a free month. I'll be right back. All right, Donald Trump just called for an end run on Jerome Powell and the Fed, just posting moments ago on Truth Social. That's where we find all of Donald Trump's posts. He's up early. 6:32 is the post time on this one, so 10, 12 minutes ago. Jerome, too late. Powell, a stubborn moron, must substantially lower interest rates now. If he continues to refuse, the board should assume control and do what everyone knows has to be done. By the way, there were two dissents. Two dissents when they didn't raise or lower interest rates here a couple of days ago. There hasn't been a dissent in the Fed since about 1990. That's true. The people know what needs to be done. Donald Trump is playing on it. The board should assume control, kick him out, and take over. Welcome back to Free Speech, Free for All Friday. The big topic, though, the crime of the century. It is the crime of the century. It was a series of dominoes that began to fall at the behest of Hillary Clinton when they created a false Russia narrative to distract from her email scandal because she had lost, destroyed, hidden 33,000 emails, many of which were classified in nature. They needed a distraction. They needed a big one. So she started down the Russia lane, asked Joe Biden to do his part, which, by the way, he stepped up and planted the Russia seed. He was the first one to really get out in front and do speeches about a Russia problem. And now it just gets worse. You've got Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, John Brennan, James Clapper, Susan Rice. John Kerry is in this mix now. He was in the Situation Room. He was fully aware of this. Loretta Lynch, Andrew McCabe, James Comey, the usual suspects. Let's get back to the phone lines. We've got Pete in Michigan. Pete, what's on your mind?
Good morning, Steve. Hey, there's a group of people that's equally complicit in this whole deal besides the DOJ and all the rest, and that is the network news and all them.
Absolutely.
Because they withheld this evidence, and lying by omission is still lying. And I know people that watch religious; they don't watch anything. ABC, NBC, all them, right? And
Yep.
you can't tell them. I could give them every piece of paper
They
that
don't
you
care.
have, right, straight from Grassley. They'll call it propaganda, and they don't believe it. But if it came from NBC and all them, they might believe it. Then even on your local affiliates, they do the same thing.
Of course they do.
I don't hear anything on my
there's a
local
reason for that.
Toledo News out of here, any one of those channels, nothing about any of this.
There's a reason for that, Pete. And thank you for the phone call.
So what do you do,
Well, here's what you do. First of all, you don't watch that garbage. You watch this, and you get honest news. You do your best. But here's the thing. They have confirmation bias. They don't care what the truth is. And that's true in a lot of newsrooms. Look, you go into newsrooms in America today, it's a bunch of leftist little kids. I mean, local newsrooms are children. They're in their 20s. They don't know anything about anything. They haven't paid a mortgage. They haven't run a business. They've got a piece of paper from some school that they think makes them important, that their opinion matters. They don't. Their opinions don't generally matter. And that's why we don't let 16-year-olds vote. They do in the UK, but not here. That's absolutely asinine. But the point of the matter is this. The book Bias by Bernie Goldberg, many years ago now, explains it all. All of these newsrooms are 90% or better Democrat. Now, that might be changing because the young generation now is more conservative. Those between 20 and 30, we'll make it 18 and 30, more conservative now than any generation in a long time. And I think part of that is because the COVID thing backfired on them. And they've also seen this nonsense from their politicians. They're sick of their country getting insulted and people hating on America and screaming that some girl wearing jeans is somehow offensive to them. Shut up. She's a white girl. She's wearing jeans. Yeah. Hotness is back. Deal with it. Attractive people are back in the spotlight. Deal with it, lefties. I'm glad to see it. We don't need, people that are shaped like a bowling ball sporting bikinis, all right? Just saying. Let's go to Mark in Maryland. Mark, how are you today?
Morning, Steve. How you doing?
I'm lovely. Having a moment. Go ahead.
So you kind of made the whole list out there. Obama, Clinton, Comey.
I'm making my list. I'm checking it twice. I'm going to find out who's been naughty and nice. Go ahead.
I want to put my application in. So I go over to the White House and help build the gallows for all these guys.
Yeah. You're not going to see that happen. But I appreciate your sentiment. Look, these people tried to undermine the United States of America. That's what they did. And they did it knowingly and consistently, and probably long before we ever got to 2016. They did other things behind the scenes. I mean, here's one that popped up yesterday, and I really appreciate your phone call. And here's one that popped up. Nancy Pelosi is worth $413 million. Last year, and I didn't even know this until yesterday, last year, her portfolio went up 70%. 70%. I'm sorry. That doesn't happen. That outperforms every hedge fund in the world. Every single one. Her portfolio went up 70%. Yeah, because she's just so good at picking stocks. Good Lord. They're all criminals, Mark. All of them. Let me see. I can get one more here. John in San Diego before we hit the break. We do this for another 2 hours.
How you doing, Steve?
John, good morning. Let's go.
Yeah, hey, I had a couple points. I want to pay the debt because I want to make it a habit because it may not happen again. And then the other thing with this whole crap about Obama and Hillary, they are even in danger because this is worldwide. So what may happen is that, they cross the line in Butler.
Yeah.
There could be more attempts coming on. So.
Well, I think there's always attempts coming on because Donald Trump is the poison pill to the body politic. They're apoplectic because they can't get rid of him. They thought they got rid of him, by undermining with the Russian narrative. They thought they got rid of him by rigging the 2020 election. They thought they got rid of him. But somehow Donald Trump, and I don't know if there's another person on earth that could have stood up to the kind of pressure he was under, to stand in there, to take the heat and come out on top. God bless him for being here. We got a lot more good things coming our way. We're going to take a break. It's Free for All Friday on the Steve Gruber Show. Thank you for being here. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Facebook and all the social media platforms. Getter, Truth, all of them. Do that, would you please? Continuing now, I want to thank a couple of people real quickly. I want to thank Carolina. I think that's a woman. Could be a guy. Began following me. Star Cryotherapy. Roxanne Roush. Alan Moss. All brand new followers on social media. Join them. Be part of this movement if you're not already. Getter, Twitter X, Facebook. You can see us live on YouTube and Rumble and all sorts of great places. Follow us on Truth Social. Follow us all these places. It's a big movement, and I'm glad you're part of it. And nobody is taking your calls the way I do. This is in honor of Rush Limbaugh. Remember Open Line Fridays. That's what this is all about. Free speech, my friends, for America. Mike in Michigan, you are next. What's up?
Good morning, Steve.
Good to have you. What's up, real quick?
There's only one way to clean the deep state up, or the swamp, as people call it. And it's only obvious. And you're going to think I'm crazy, but the globalist regime or oligarchy has invaded our government. And the only way to clean it up is to declare a state of emergency or something else against the invasion of our government by these globalist operatives that are pushing for the globalist agenda, which the American people have overwhelmingly rejected.
In case of emergency, break glass. I don't think you're wrong about that, Mike. We do have an emergency. There's no question. I don't know if you can declare a state of emergency and start, asking for people's papers. I don't think that works exactly. But I think that they're doing a fine job rooting out a good part of this. We're going to rip this out by the root. You watch. We're going to rip this out by the root. You watch. All right, so here's the deal, guys. This program is for 3 hours every day. We'll continue to take your calls. I've got Tim, Paula, Veronica, Linda, Jennifer, all in queue, and I'm going to get to all of you. But we have this thing called a top of the hour break where we have to go pay some bills and say thank you to our sponsors. And I really support the sponsors of this program. They want to hear from you, whether it's Hillsdale College or the Wellness Company, Well Connect Geothermal, any of them, and I go through all of them as best I can. But I'd like you to say thank you to all of these folks whenever you can by giving them a call, see if it can fit, and make sure you take care of Patriot Mobile too, right? Make sure we're friends with all the people that make this show possible. It's a lot longer list than that. I'll be back in a moment with more of your calls. It is the crime of the century we're covering on the Steve Gruber Show. look around and say, hey, you know what? I live in a pretty great country. President Trump is calm, on point, on his game. And unlike the last guy, he is competent and coherent.
Come on, man.
We're not bending the knee anymore. We're here to take a stand for God and country.
This is the Steve Gruber Show.
All right, back to it now on a free-for-all Friday. Glad to have you on board. So much to talk about. We've got flooding in New York City and Detroit. That's number one on our list of things to talk about. Number two, Donald Trump sending 17 pharmaceutical companies a notice that, hey, we are going to drop the price of prescription drugs in this country. God bless America. And number three, it is free-for-all Friday. The number one thing by far, the continued revelations of the biggest scandal, the crime of the century, the Clinton-Obama-led attacks to undermine and destroy the candidate Donald Trump, the president-elect Donald Trump, and then the president, Donald Trump. All on the list of things to discuss today. I've got some great callers on the line, and it is Free Speech, Free for All Friday, powered by Patriot Mobile, 877-310-9966. Tim, living in the town that I used to live in, Columbus, Ohio. Tim, how are you?
All right, Steve. You got me?
I got you, brother. I used to live in German Village, working for NBC4. I was the investigative reporter at WCMH NBC4 Columbus, Ohio. There you go.
I got some joy for you this morning with a little diddly.
All right.
And it's from the good book that a lot of people maybe should read a little more. Psalm 7:14. Behold, he travaileth with iniquity, and hath conceived mischief, and brought forth falsehood. He made a pit, and digged it, and is fallen into the ditch which he made. He made a pit, and digged it, and is fallen into the ditch which he made. His mischief shall return upon his own head.
All right, we got some applause for him over there. Well done. Well done, Tim. I appreciate that. Nicely done. Psalm 7:14, a little harmonica thrown in. Well,
he
done.
waited through a break to do that. That's impressive.
He did a nice job. That's going out on social media. Make sure we mark that down, Anthony. We're going to clip Tim from Columbus and get him out there in the
do you
rotation.
Think he was playing that harmonica?
Absolutely, I do.
That's awesome.
I absolutely do.
I think that's legit. I think he was playing it legitimately.
I think so, too. Tim, one more round of applause. Good Lord, that was really good. I'm ready. All right, so with that smile on my face, let's go to Paula. She is in Michigan. Paula, good morning. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, Steve. That was a great clip from Tim. That was just awesome.
All right, what's on your mind?
First of all, thank you so much for not being part of Operation Mockingbird. I mean, you are the only place we come for truth.
Well, I appreciate that. Operation Mockingbird, for anybody who doesn't know, it's a censoring program. All sorts of people tied into it just to cleanse the. And here's the thing. You know it's still going on. They're not talking about this. I mean, I've got this whole list, this timeline of the events that have happened, and I update this timeline every day because new things come out from Tulsi Gabbard or Kash Patel, John Solomon doing bang-up work like always at Just the News. There's new stuff every single day here. Anyhow, go ahead.
Well, this doesn't have to do with the crime of the century, but I do want to have your take on it. The Canadian wildfires. How come we never heard about Canadian wildfires up until about 3 years ago?
As people know that listen to this program, I spent a fair amount of time at the Northern Compound, which is in northern Michigan, not too far from Petoskey and that part of the state. And up there right now, it's kind of hazy, isn't it? If you get up in that area, it's hazy because of the fires. Every day it's hazy. Look, there are wildfires in this country every year, and in Canada every year. Look, it's vast amounts of forest. And look, when I lived in Bozeman, Montana, and went to college at Montana State a number of years ago, Yellowstone National Park caught on fire circa, what year would have that been? 1998? I'd have to look. Excuse me, 1989. I got a little dyslexia there. 1989. And 1.1 million acres burned. In Bozeman, 90 miles from the park, it kept acting like it was a big snowstorm, but there was so much ash in the air, it looked like whiteout conditions, except ash doesn't come off your windshield. Look, there's fires every year. It's nothing new. We had a fire in 1881 that burned from Lake Michigan to Lake Huron. It happened in this state, and it happened in 1871, too. I mean, history repeats itself from time to time. We're going to have another great fire in Michigan next year. I predicted it many times. Next year. So, Paul will be aware of that. Anyhow, yeah, big fires in Canada, but apparently they don't care about last year when we were in an election year. That's all. They talked about the big fires and how it was climate change and blah, blah. It seems to have been pushed off the front page. Paula, God bless you for calling in. Let's go to Linda. It's ladies' hour at the moment. Linda in Idaho. How are you, Linda?
I'm just fine, Steve. How are you?
Lovely. Thank you for waiting. How are you? What's on your mind?
Well, I am really scared to death that if we do not get Obama, Soros, and all of those people behind bars immediately, we are going to be living back under communism like we have been for the last, well, since Clinton, I think.
Well, worse. Actually, I think you're right about that, Linda.
Obama. Go ahead.
No, I think it'll be worse because they'll be empowered to really ram it down our throats if they get back in. Go ahead.
Yeah, I disagree with a caller that said we have to be patient. We cannot be patient. We have to get it done.
Well, I think what he meant by that, let Kash Patel and Pam Bondi and Tulsi Gabbard do their investigation, so they've got them. They got dead rights. They got them dead, and that's what I think they meant by that, Linda. They're going to have them there's going to be no wiggle room, and I appreciate that point of view. Let's just nail them, and I agree with you, too. Don't dawdle. We can't have a special counsel that drags on for 2 years. We can't have that. We need to get to the facts, get to the smoking gun, and get to the prosecutions after the grand jury. I think that's exactly right. I greatly appreciate your call today, Linda. You're on it. Jennifer usually on it. I hear from her from time to time. She's in Michigan.
Well, good morning, my special friend. I want to talk about something that nobody else has talked about. I've talked to about 20 young men here in the state of Michigan that have applied applications for jobs. This has been going on for many of these young men 2 years in a row, maybe even longer. They submit 50 to 100 applications for jobs a month. No one calls. No calls for interviews, nothing. And if they walk into a business and introduce themselves to a manager, they're rebuffed and told to go online and submit an application. Something nasty is going on here in this state. By the way, minimum wage in Michigan is $12 an hour. And I am very concerned about what's going on. A lot of these young men have families to support. Nobody calls. They've got good resumes. They've got good backgrounds. What the heck is going on, Steve?
Well, I better dig into
know.
it. Yeah, we better dig into it, Jennifer. God bless you for calling in. I'm up against a break, my friend, so I got to trot. But anybody, look, this is true of anybody. If you are familiar with what Jennifer's talking about, send me an email. Go to stevegruber.com, send me an email. Any topic you want covered, send me an email. Great way to do it. Go to stevegruber.com, click on it, send me an email. We'll talk about it. It is Free Speech, Free for All Friday. I'm going to get to Tom after the break, and we've got some guests coming up, so stick around. All right, back to it on a Free Speech, Free for All Friday, powered by Patriot Mobile. We're going to get to a quick call here, and then we're going to get on to a brand new guest for a moment. Then we'll get back to calls. Isn't it great? Yeah, it is great. Great to have you here. We're going to go to Tom in Kentucky. He's been patiently waiting to say his piece. Tom, welcome to the program.
Hey, good morning, Steve. Can you hear me, buddy?
I can hear you just clear as a bell. What's on your mind?
Well, I've been listening to this great show this morning. I've been hearing bits and pieces, but the usual suspects, that's right. But I'm not hearing anything about the J6 mastermind Pelosi, I'm hearing a little bit about Soros, but nothing about Pelosi. You know, she tore up President Trump's speech in front of everybody there. I think she's got a big part to play in this also, but
well, we're going to find out. We will find out as they continue to ferret through. You know, who is sitting around today, though, Tom, and going, I thought you burned the bags. I mean, how do you have burned bags that never made it to the incinerator, and now that evidence, it makes me think there was somebody on the inside that said, I'm just going to push these back here in a corner and hope that nobody notices them for a few months. I just feel like somebody was doing their patriotic service. Tom, greatly appreciate the call. I've got to jump because I've got Daniel Gerstein on the line, a senior policy researcher at RAND and a professor of policy analysis at Pardee RAND Graduate School. He was a former acting undersecretary and deputy undersecretary for the DHS Science and Technology Directorate. He's here with me again today. Nice to have you here, Daniel.
Good to be here, Steve.
All right, so President Trump has put out he put out a lot of executive orders. I mean, that's fair to say. Trying to get some of the things signed into law, but doing his level best with executive orders in other areas. So there's an order on drones, unleashing America's drone dominance. He wants us to be the leader in AI and high tech, in high-speed delivery of information, and in drones as well. And look, I've seen some videos recently where these military drones can all be neutralized real quickly. If you scramble their incoming signals, they can all be neutralized or fall. But how do we become the world leader in drone technology, and how does President Trump's executive order help us get there?
Well, let me just correct one thing. So what we're seeing in warfare, for example, in Ukraine, Russia, we're actually seeing now the use of drones that are maneuvered using fiber optic cables. And so it is much harder to try to jam those or to interfere with those types of drones. So we're watching the adaptation of drone technology in real time. So it's becoming much more dangerous. So now to your question about the executive order, I mean, I think the idea is right, that we want to be able to maximize the use of drones for things like industry, economic prosperity, you know, where it makes sense. And there are a lot of different uses. And so I think that's one of the things that the executive order talks about, which is good. On the other side, it also talks about preparing against the use of drones against targets here in the homeland, which is also good. But those two are a little bit in conflict with each other because, you know, if you want to proliferate drones across the country, you know, that sets you up then to perhaps have lots of actors, some might be bad actors, using those drones for ill purposes. And so that's what my op-ed was about that I had come out this week.
All right, so what is the future? I mean, I've seen these videos of this drone factory, biggest in the world apparently. The Russians have a drone factory. And these things are, you know, people think about drones being something about the size of a dinner plate, right, or whatever. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about drones that have 7 and 8 foot wingspans, some bigger, some longer, some more destructive when it gets into warfare and so forth. Drones are quite advanced at this point, aren't they?
Well, they certainly are, and they've evolved. You know, in the earlier days, the United States was using things like Predators and Reapers, and some of those have wingspans that are almost as large as a 737. No. So they're not a small thing. But, you know, what we found in Ukraine is that both sides have gone to smaller drones because they're much harder to bring down. And what Russia is doing is they're using mass drone swarms to go after targets. And so many of those sneak through, even though there is air defense that the Ukrainians have that tries to knock it down.
Smaller targets, harder to hit.
Yeah, smaller target, harder to hit. And, there's just not enough to knock it out of the sky. So many of them are getting through.
And so, because the drones that I saw, I mean, these black drones, I'm guessing them just based on the idea that I saw two men carrying them. They don't weigh a heck of a lot. When a drone that has an 8 or 10 foot wingspan, what kind of ordnance can they deliver? How powerful can they be?
Well, I mean, we've seen some of them that will have missiles on it, small missiles, air to air, air to ground missiles. They can also carry, small bombs. They're using rudimentary explosive devices. In some cases, they're dropping grenades from very small unmanned aerial systems onto tanks, and it's destroying a tank. So think about this. You have a drone that may cost, say, $2,000. You have a grenade, which, really has no cost at this point because it's already owned by the Ukrainians and the Russians. And it's destroying a tank that is over $1 million. Think about the return on investment being able to use $2,000 to take out $1 million tank.
Pretty remarkable. What Donald Trump wrote was for the unmanned aerial systems drones to, quote, enhance United States productivity, create high-skilled jobs, reshaping the future of aviation, and transforming industries from logistics and infrastructure inspection to precise agriculture, emergency response, public safety. A lot of upside to them, a lot of downside too, Daniel. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Really appreciate it. There you have it. Just another executive order. It happened back in June. Did you even know it? I missed that one. I mean, there's just so many of them. I'll take a break and be back. Taking phone calls here on a Free for All Friday, 877-310-9966. All right. We continue on with Free for All Friday. Let's see. We've got Vicky on the line from Florida. Vicky, how are you today? Vicky, are you there? Did we lose her, Brock?
No.
Oh, there she is. Vicky, how are you? Well, maybe she's having a little technical issue.
We lost her. Vicky's gone.
Well, there you go. Well, she's had a little issue there. It's okay. It happens. Greatly appreciate you being here. You're not lost. We're here. Sitting here, we have conversations on social media. It's interesting that a comment was made here that Donald Trump, by somebody who hates Trump, obviously, has surrounded himself by the same people who have created war for us, and we're going to have war with Russia and create World War III and so on and so forth. Look, World War III is already underway in the minds of many people because China's running an asymmetrical war against us every single day. But the idea that Donald Trump is pushing us into war with Russia is ridiculous. He's intervened in a war in Africa that has been going on for 30 years. He gets the parties to come to the White House, sign a peace deal. He intervenes with India and Pakistan, gets them to stop killing each other. Cambodia and Thailand gets them to stop killing each other. The list goes on. The idea Trump is a peace president. There's no other way to see this. There's just not any other way to see his actions speak louder than words. And to suggest otherwise is just it's ludicrous and frankly asinine. Wake up, people. Wake up. All right, I'm going to take a break and be back. It is a free speech, free for all Friday, powered by Patriot Mobile's Common Sense Hotline, 877-310-9966. 877-310-9966. I'll be right back. All right, here we go. Diving back now to continue the conversation. My next guest, Congressman Tim Walberg, represents Michigan's 5th Congressional District. He usually joins us on Fridays. He's back in district today, which is a nice place to be. Michigan in August, September, October, no better place in the world. I don't care where you live. I'm gonna tell you that that's just the way it is. Congressman Tim Walberg, welcome back.
We're in full agreement this morning.
Yeah, on that we are, for sure. Let me ask you about that. I got to ask you about most mornings. I got to ask you about the big headlines here today, because the headline Chuck Grassley, to me today is the best argument against term limits I've ever seen. He's been there for like 6 terms. He is pulling out and declassifying one document after another pile of documents, showing the nefarious behavior of Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, John Brennan, Clapper, Rice, John Kerry, Loretta Lynch, Andrew McCabe. The list just goes on. And now he has tied in one of your colleagues from Russia, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, as to being the liaison between George Soros and this whole scam of Russia on America and this whole false narrative. I mean, I'm pretty proud of Chuck Grassley today and all the people doing the research. And I'd like to talk to the guy who forgot to burn the burn bags over at the FBI. What do you make of all this?
Well, in the end, if we allow the system to work, it will work well and show, in this case, the wrong that was brought on by people who were trying to stop America from changing. From what Barack Obama had started. They just could not believe that he wouldn't have a third term via Hillary Clinton and move forward the socialist agenda that he started with all sorts of things, including Obamacare, which we still have problems with, and really takes away what America ought to have. So every effort was put in place, and Wasserman Schultz at that time was doing things, in fact, getting caught doing things even against her own party to try to move forward the socialist agenda. And I think Chuck Grassley, and you'll also see in the House as well, the Judiciary Committee continue to do things that will, now that we have the opportunity to do it, will show that Democrats wanted to change the course of history.
They did.
In a way that it hadn't been done before. They did it, but now we're finding out and how.
Yeah. You know, for the first time, I'm watching all this break yesterday. Hillary Clinton asking Joe Biden to take the first shot, which he did, by the way, going out in July saying Trump has a Russia problem. We have texts and emails, apparently, that we'll be seeing here maybe today that underscore that. Biden delivered 2 speeches plus a DNC appearance where he brought out the, quote, Russia problem. For the first time here in all of this, Congressman, I actually think people could really go to prison over this. I think people are going to go to prison because, I mean, whoever forgot to burn the burn bags, thank you. Honestly. The evidence, the annex to this report and that report and all this evidence and text messages, and it's clear now that Hillary Clinton created the Russia narrative to distract from her email disaster, the 33,000 emails that were subject to bleach bin, and then the devices hit with ball-peen hammers to destroy them physically. This was all done to save her bacon. And it was picked up by Barack Obama after it failed. They failed to take out Trump, the candidate. They failed to take out Trump, the president-elect, and then they went after him for 4 more years, and they still failed, I know, because he is now president of the United States again. It's the crime of the century, Congressman, and I mean that. I'm not saying that. I think that with all honesty. I think it's the crime of the century, and my first time in a long time, I believe, people will go to prison. And I think that Hillary Clinton should be there with them. Your thoughts?
Well, from what we see so far, I totally agree with you. There may be an immunity for President Obama,
maybe
as a result of immunity that was given and concurred with by the courts for President Trump, but others don't have that same immunity. And in talking with Jim Jordan just a week and a half ago about this whole issue and what he saw, what I was able to see as I sat on oversight committee during that time as well, this was a dirty deal that was perpetrated because they could get away with it at the time, and they thought ultimately it would be successful. You wouldn't have President Trump, and President Trump almost had the opportunity to get something started until we had COVID and all that went on with that, and then the loss of the majority for the Republicans in the House that really stopped the president from moving forward on turning America around and getting things back in order and getting truth out again, however ugly it might be. And now we're seeing that. But here, President Trump is in office. We have a majority in both houses of Republicans and people like Jim Jordan and Chuck Grassley that are willing to say, Katie, bar the door, we're going to go for truth. And if it takes some people down and puts them in prison, then that's right, and it ought to be that way. FBI Director Comey should not have been allowed to do what he did, to set up a president, to set up a presidential cabinet member, and really destroy the narrative that he should have been putting out that was true of things that went on wrong. But he was part of the problem himself, part of the crime.
Yeah. And we're going to continue to follow this. I do want you to get in a quick comment about the Great Lakes Fisheries and the Mass Marking Program Act. You joined Debbie Dingle and Bill Huizenga to establish a program to make sure that we're marking all the fish that come out of hatcheries so that we can determine hatchery fish versus wild fish, ones that are born in the wild and created in the wild. Or hatched, I guess would be more accurate. But anyhow, you get my point. Tell me about this legislation, why it's so important.
Well, why it's so important is that in Michigan, it's a huge industry for us, both commercial, tribal, and recreational fishing. We're surrounded by 20% of the world's freshwater sources. The fishery industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and up until now, we haven't had a modern system in seeing where we're achieving success and where we're not. It can be simply approached by a better marking process. And so we who are part of the Great Lakes Caucus, and especially those of us in Michigan, myself, Debbie Dingle, Bill Huizenga, decided it's time to punch forward and get that in line so we know what we're doing. We're not wasting money, not wasting effort, but also not falling behind. And this is, I think, a simple approach whose time has come long ago, and we need to get it done. So we're glad to put that legislation forward, ultimately get it passed in the House, and hopefully soon in the Senate as well.
Congressman Tim Walberg, you're right. It's time to protect the fisheries. It always has been the time to protect the fisheries, but it's an ongoing effort, that's for sure. Congressman Tim Walberg, always appreciate you being here, sir. Thank you.
Great to be with you. Have a pure Michigan weekend.
Amen to that, my friend. Amen to that. All right, Free Speech, Free for All Friday continues after the break. If you'd like to get a lick in, 877-310-9966, 877-310-9966. I'll take a break and be back. Thank you for being here on The Steve Gruber Show. All right. Back at it now. One of the biggest accomplishments of the Trump administration in the first 6 months, border security, deportations, the EU trade deal, the Japan trade deal, the tariff revenue, economic growth, inflation reduction, tax cuts, deregulation. What is big for you? It is Free Speech, Free for All Friday. I think the biggest thing we need to talk about continues to be the crime of the century. It is the crime of the century. They tried to steal an election from you. In fact, they did in 2020 when they tried to destroy a presidency. They almost succeeded. Let's go to Vicky in Florida on this Free Speech, Free for All Friday. Vicky, how are you? Vicky, are you there? You waited so long. All right, Brock, we're going to move down to Calvin in South Carolina. Calvin, how are you today?
Not too bad. Thank you for taking my call.
Of course. What's on your mind?
I see a parallel. Democrats don't want us to learn history because John Wilkes Booth didn't do that job by himself.
There's a fair point you make there. It takes a group of people to pull off an attack on a president. It's always been true. Probably true in 1963, too, wasn't it? I think that's a good parallel, right. Calvin. What else do you say about it?
Well, there were people executed. People don't even want to. They don't even talk about John Wilkes Booth died, but they also executed people for being involved in that.
Whole host of people. That's right. I'd have to go back and look at the number, but several people that were part of the conspiracy to murder President Lincoln. All, I think of their firing squads back then. But you're right, Calvin. Thank you for the phone call. Greatly appreciate it. Hanged. Okay, hanged. There you go. Hanged and
the first woman ever.
Oh, that's right. I knew that. I was just at Ford's Theater for the first time, by the way, here earlier this year. Interesting place to go. Calvin, thank you for checking in. Greatly appreciate your input. He's right. Hold people accountable. Hillary Clinton should be in prison today. I said that at the top of the program. For the first time, I actually think that really could happen. Now, will it happen to her? Could. Flip a coin could. Maybe not even that strong. Maybe 10% could, but it could. Karen in California. Karen, how are you today?
No, Karen's gone. Let's go to Phil in Ann Arbor.
All right, Phil in Ann Arbor. How are you, friend?
Doing fine. Hey, I wanted to bring up something. All this stuff that's happening in the press is meant to divide us. And you talk about the Hillsdale course of those 4 books.
Yeah, aren't they great?
Dystopian books. And 1984 is really important on this because there are 3 things in there that people need to know about, and they're all clearly laid out by George Orwell back when he wrote that book. Number 1, they want to redo history and they want to control the news. That's what Winston's job was at the ministry.
That's
Google
right.
does that today. Number 2, they always have an enemy. They always have somebody that they puff up and everybody's supposed to hate. In the book, it's Emmanuel Goldstein. Today, it's Trump or Hegseth or Pam Bondi or whoever they can use.
That's right.
But number 3, every day they have a 2 minutes of hate session. That's what liberals do every day. They
2
come
minutes.
up with something. It doesn't last 72 hours, but they get them all amped up because it's not about facts. It's not about logic. It's about feelings. That course has got to be great. I've read all 4 of those books. I recommend them to everybody.
Yeah, I recommend it to everybody, too. Sign up today, Hillsdale College. Discover what makes America great. I really appreciate the call, Phil. Thank you from Ann Arbor, Michigan. There's a university there, too, but it's not like Hillsdale. Hillsdale College, discover what makes American citizenship unique and why it's in decline. In this free Hillsdale College online course, renowned historian Victor Davis Hanson explores the foundation of American freedom, the responsibilities of self-government, and the cultural forces eroding our shared values today. Here's a preview of what Phil was talking about. Listen to this.
When you have these woke revolutions, it requires all of us at some point to say, no, not going to do this. A nation has to have civic education. They have to know what the Constitution is. They have to know what the First Amendment is. They have to have some idea who the people were that died at Shiloh, what Okinawa was about, who Andrew Jackson was, who Lincoln was, who Harriet Tubman was. If you don't have models of your past, you're going to forget it. We are living in a country that has no resemblance to the visions of the Founding Fathers in the first 200 years of our history. We're losing that ability with tribal politics, wokeness, cancel culture. If you lose the idea of citizenship, And if Americans don't see themselves as unique citizens of the United States, then you don't have a country.
Then you don't have a country. Phil is so right about how good these programs are. I appreciate his phone call today, pointing out how great the different programs are. More than 40 different classes. This one with powerful historical insights and modern analysis. Victor Davis Hanson reveals how reclaiming the principles of the founders can restore our nation's civic strength. Enroll for free and gain the knowledge to defend liberty for future generations. It's pretty simple for you. Go to Gruber for Hillsdale now. Join me in defending freedom and learning about our incredible country. And again, he talked about 1984. There's 4 novels that they talk about in one of the courses there. 1984 being, as Phil put it, the most important of all of them. Look, you can learn about the Founding Fathers, these incredible works like 1984, the foundations of the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, free enterprise and capitalism. It's free, so it's right there. Speaking of capitalism, it is better than Netflix or anything else you might stream. Apple TV, Netflix, any of those. This is better because it's free and it's educational. You'll be so much better off having listened and watched these, and they're so well done. You just saw the one with Victor Davis Hanson for those of you streaming and seeing the video. It's incredible. Go check it out, gruberforhillsdale.com. You'll love it. You will absolutely love it. All right, coming up after the break, we'll have sports with Brock, unless you want to be part of the conversation on the Patriot Mobile Common Sense Hotline, 877-310-9966, 877-310-9966. It's your chance to be heard, America. I do it every week on Fridays. At least I try to. Sometimes there's bigger stories. We try to do it every Friday. Free speech, free for all Friday on the Steve Gruber Show. If you want to send me an email, if that's more comfortable for you, I understand. I get it. Go to stevegruber.com. Send me an email. Maybe I'll read it on the air. We do a lot of that as well. Thank you for being here. I'll be right back.
With a look at sports, I'm Brock Palmbush. A busy day in Major League Baseball as the league's trade deadline came and went. The most notable trade saw the Minnesota Twins send all-star shortstop Carlos Correa to the Houston Astros for a minor league pitcher and cash. Also, the San Diego Padres got all-star closer Mason Miller and starting pitcher J.P. Sears from the Athletics for a handful of minor league prospects. On the field, there were just 3 games. It was the New York Yankees over Tampa Bay 7-4. Atlanta got past Cincinnati 12-11 in 10 innings, and Seattle shut out Texas 6-0. The NFL preseason began last night with the annual Hall of Fame game in Canton, Ohio. The Los Angeles Chargers thrashed the Detroit Lions 34-7. In the WNBA, just one game. Golden State beat Washington 68-67, and Joel Damon shot a 9 under par 61 to take the first-round lead at the Wyndham Championship in Greensboro, North Carolina. That's a look at sports. Back to you, Steve.
Thank you, Brock. As we continue on a Free Speech Free for All Friday, Marlene checking in from the great state of Ohio, where I used to live. Marlene, welcome to it. What's on your mind?
Yes, I just want to make 3 points. I cannot believe the Supreme Court's ruling on presidential immunity encompasses one president undermining the office of the presidency itself.
That's
Number
a fair
2,
point.
I also believe that they defrauded the American public out of the millions of dollars that was spent on all these investigations. And number 3, they disenfranchised millions of voters when they tried to stop the president's agenda. And that's all I have to say. And I will listen. Thank you.
Well done. Points 1, 2, and 3. How could immunity extend to one president trying to destroy the one coming in after him? Great question. What about those investigations? Were they real, or did they just take our money and defraud America? Fair question. And what about disenfranchising millions of voters by cheating in 2016, 2020, and yes, 2024 too? Those are all great questions. Well done, Marlene in Ohio. Let's give her a round of applause because she deserves it. Nicely done, Marlene. Be like Marlene. Come with facts and ready to play. It's Free for All Free Speech Friday on the Steve Gruber Show. Back with more of your calls and entertainment after this. say, hey, you know what? I live in a pretty great country. President Trump is calm, on point, on his game. And unlike the last guy, he is competent and coherent.
Come on, man.
We're not bending the knee anymore. We're here to take a stand for God and country.
This is the Steve Gruber Show.
All right, there you have it. Trying a new open here today, as you can, and we've been working on here. Trying to, get some things ramped up for you. But here we are on a Free Speech, Free for All Friday, powered by the Patriot Mobile Common Sense Hotline. You can get part of the conversation, 877-310-9966. Three big things to know this hour. Donald Trump is trying to get your prescription medication cheaper, talking to numerous pharmaceutical companies. Number two, flooding in New York and panic in Detroit. We've got that going on. We'll talk about that. And number three, I continue to dig through more revelations. It's one revelation after another after another. It's pretty incredible what we found here. Pretty incredible what we have found here. All right, so you know about the timeline, right? You know about the declassified appendix to the Durham report, which shows even more smoking guns, and it ties Hillary Clinton to Joe Biden, asking for him to be the first one out to take the first shot, saying Donald Trump has a Russia problem. Biden, he played along. He played ball, as did all the compliant news media, as they are drooling on themselves with a glazed look in their eye. It ties Debbie Wasserman Schultz into this whole deal with George Soros. She was the envoy, basically, for the Clinton team to say, hey, can you amplify this? You've got the Mar-a-Lago raid, which now appears to have been an attempt to recapture some of these documents. And, of course, the burn bags. The burn bags. My God, they're walking around going, I thought you were going to burn that stuff. I didn't burn it. I thought you burned it. Dude, I set it in there for you. You know that. I can just say, can you see that argument playing out, Anthony? I didn't do it. You were supposed to do that, dude.
They're all sweating in a basement somewhere.
God. I thought you burned the bags. You idiot. No, you said you were going to burn them. Dude, I got high and forgot. All right, cool. The guy that was snorting the cocaine in the Biden White House.
Joe Biden's just standing in the corner.
You got a bag? And Hunter's over there. You got a bag, man? Really? What do you got, dude?
I can tell you how to make it if you don't.
I can tell you how to burn a bag. Jesus. Anyhow, the crimes involved. The crimes involved. How about this? Conspiracy to defraud the United States, conspiring to impair, obstruct, or defeat the lawful functions of a government agency through deceitful means. There's one for you. False statements to federal authorities. Description: knowingly making false statements or concealing material facts in matters within federal jurisdiction. If Clinton campaign operatives like Fusion GPS or Steele provided false or misleading information to the FBI about the Trump-Russia ties, they could face serious liability. The annex notes the FBI received intelligence suggesting the dossier was partly Russian-sourced or disinformation. Yet, even though it was not to be believed, it was used for FISA applications to go after people like Carter Page. Trouble here for folks, trouble. Violations of the Federal Election Campaign Act prohibits certain foreign contributions and requires accurate reporting of campaign expenditures. The Clinton campaign and DNC funding Steele's dossier, which included these Russian sources, allegedly, could violate rules against foreign influence. I don't know if it included any Russian anything. They wanted this. Oh, how about we tie Trump to Russia? That's what's in the emails and texts that we might see today from John Solomon and others who have got their nose deep into this rabbit hole, and they're ferreting out the facts for you. We'll see what happens there. Wire fraud. Using electronic communications to execute a scheme to defraud or obtain money and property by false pretenses. If the Clinton campaign, Fusion GPS, or associates used emails and other communications, like Bernardo's emails, to orchestrate a scheme to smear Donald Trump with false Russia ties, this would qualify. The annex, and they call these annex, which is the additional material on these reports, suggests a coordinated effort to disseminate false information through media and FBI channels for political gain. Of course it does. Political gain. Obstruction of justice, that's an easy one. The annex alleges Obama intended to scuttle the FBI's investigation into Clinton's email server, which would obstruct justice. He pressured the FBI to stop the probe or drop the probe, which apparently he did. The annex also notes false information in FISA applications for Carter Page's surveillance, obstructing judicial processes, and that goes on. Here's one that I didn't know. Misprision, I think that's how it's pronounced, misprision of felony. I need one of my lawyer friends to say, I need Esquire Bob to say, Gruber, it's misprision, it's whatever it is. Knowing a felony exists and failing to report it to the proper authorities. If Obama, Biden, Brennan, Comey, if they had intelligence about the Clinton campaign's plan to falsely link Trump to Russia and did nothing to investigate or report it, they could certainly be liable. The Foreign Agents Registration Act. I mean, this is the list, the laundry list of potential crimes and violations. This is why, for the first time, folks, I sit here today and I say, gosh, I believe somebody's going to prison. Comey, Brennan, Clapper, McCabe, Rice, I don't know yet. Somebody's going to prison. The Foreign Agents Registration Act, it requires agents of foreign principals to register to disclose activities and influence U.S. policy or public opinion. If the Steele or Fusion GPS acted as unregistered agents of foreign entities, like Russian sources feeding dossier information or Steele feeding them garbage, and the annex suggests that Russian intelligence, they knew of Steele's work, hinting at possible foreign influence, Clinton campaign operatives coordinating with Steele might also be implicated. So look, if you didn't get a pardon, boy, did you screw up. If you didn't get the old man, pardon me. If you didn't, sorry. If you didn't get Joe Biden to give you a pardon, man, did you screw up. Of course, he wasn't giving out the pardons anyway. His chief of staff, Jeff Zients, was. Wonder what that cost. You can make a deposit into my offshore account. Here's the number. Oh, the money's there? Yeah, let me get the auto pen out. I mean, far be it for me to speculate that they would have done such a terrible thing. And let's see, what else do we have? We have Hatch Act violations, computer fraud and abuse, and more. That's your list of potential. There could be other crimes here. Look, who knows? RICO violations, all sorts of things. Yeah, geez, oh, pizza, they are just a mess, right? Hey, look, if you're a mess and you're feeling tired and got some pain every day and you're sick of it, well, try ExodusNow.com. Introducing Exodus, a natural holistic supplement that combines 2,000 years of ancient wisdom with modern science. It features 7 biblical ingredients, things like frankincense, myrrh, cumin, paired with the groundbreaking benefits of molecular hydrogen. You're going to love this. It's designed to soothe joint and muscle discomfort, boost your energy, reduce inflammation. God bless America. Let's do this. If you're living with chronic inflammation, you are not alone, but you don't have to suffer anymore. Try ExodusNow.com. Try ExodusNow.com. I'm telling you, when I take Exodus, I feel like a new man. I feel like I'm 21 years old. Almost. I mean, I feel pretty good. I'm not going to kid you. Try ExodusNow.com. Support the people that support this program. Again, let me say it for you. Let me say it clearly. God bless America. I'll be right back. All right, here we are going back into the program, and fresh off his American Eagle shopping spree to get brand new jeans, we have the smartest, most talented lawyer in all of the world, Steve Doolin, here with his new knickers, those American Eagle jeans. He's looking smashing. Hello, Doolin.
Great, Gruber. Actually, nothing comes between me and my Calvins. That's how I've been trying to explain to the younger folks in the office about that ad campaign back.
Yeah, that was racist too. Yeah, that was just racist. Because only white people go without underwear or some damn thing. Anyhow, good to have you back. Is this not the dumbest thing you've seen? This ads about jeans? Oh, it's Nazi speak. Her initials are SS. So clearly it's a Nazi scheme,
Well, I hadn't heard that last part.
Sydney Sweeney, SS. Sydney Sweeney, SS. So she's clearly a member of the Third Reich. Yeah.
Well, they're beyond parody at this point. Several years ago, it became sort of a bit of humor that's tossed around. Anyone says anything, and someone else in the room says that's racist, and it's a joke, right? But you can't even ridicule these people anymore, or at least this small group of people. I mean, the other thing that I think happens, honestly, is the response is overblown to one or two crazy people on the left also. I think that we are so oversensitized to the madness that we hear from the far left that they're blowing American Eagle's ad campaign out of proportion. American Eagle's getting way more bang for their buck than they would have, but
they're piling cash, dude. Their sales are through the roof. 71% of the people that see the ad are approve it. So I played it for my sister, for her sister Sarah here a couple days ago. Watch this ad. She wasn't aware of the ad. Watch this ad. What do you make of it? She goes, "They're selling jeans." I mean, that they're selling jeans, and so what? And now Dunkin' Donuts in trouble too because they got some hot young guy on there coming out with his drink. He goes, "I don't know how I became the king of summer. It must be my genetic or something like that." Whatever. Look, it's white supremacy. I mean, stop it. Just stop it.
Yeah, I mean, utter madness. It really is. Yeah.
I get it. People look at you and me doing it, and they say, "Man, those are two good-looking white dudes. I envy that." I mean, and I can appreciate that. So look at us right now going, "Man, I want to be just like those dudes right there." I mean, I get it. I do. I get it. Anyhow, all right. So one serious thing here. One serious thing. I'm going to do my best. Silencers. The Democrats want a silencer. Better term is suppressor. It doesn't silence anything. In fact, silencers still have an audible sound of about 100 decibels from what I can figure out, right? But that doesn't sell at Democrat get-togethers, so they want to call them silencers, like you see in the movie. That's the only sound it makes. And they want $4,000 for you to own one, right? $4,000. I don't know where that money goes, probably to Nancy Pelosi's, fund.
More madness. And silencer, by the way, is the correct legal term. I mean, in a former life, I was a tactical guy, right? I was an infantry sergeant, and suppressor is the more correct term. But in all the statutes, it actually says silencer. And even in some of them, like we have in Michigan, it says silencer or muffler, which really highlights the fact that it's the same technology you have on your car, right? In fact, the firearm silencer was invented first. And it was also a marketing term by the guy who invented it, Maxim, because he was trying to sell it. So he kind of, used that puffery and said it's a silencer. But it's really not. You're absolutely correct. You got to do a lot of tinkering with ammo and velocities and all kinds of stuff to try to get it quieter. And it helps hearing protection. I wouldn't have the hearing problems I have now probably if we'd been issued them back when I was in the Army. But the truth is that the bill was passed, the National Firearms Act, back before this awful case that I call the root of all evil called Wickard v. Filburn that was forced through right early in World War II as part of the sort of later New Deal package after a court packing threat by FDR that says that the federal government basically can do whatever it wants. That's Wickard v. Filburn. Well, National Firearms Act was a couple of years earlier when people were still reading the Constitution, and therefore they made it a tax law. So it's a tax law, and it says that you got to pay a $200 tax. And $200 was confiscatory back in the day, a lot of money back in the 1930s. And it was meant to really discourage ownership of silencers and suppressors, right? And machine guns and short-barreled rifles and short-barreled shotguns. And I have to be careful not to do the whole lecture. I understand we're limited here in time, but that tax was $200 up until very recently. Now, what's happened just this year since President Trump took office is the tax has been reduced to zero. The compromise that as part of the big, beautiful bill is we're not going to have to pay that $200 tax anymore. So a lot of people are waiting until January to buy the new equipment they're going to purchase because it's not going to cost any tax money. Well, so what did the Democrats do? They highlighted the whole problem here. They put forth a proposal to raise the tax to over $4,000 just to have this essential piece of safety equipment, hearing safety equipment. And that highlights the whole problem with even so-called reasonable gun control, right? And this
reasonable.
Yeah.
Common sense. You forgot that. Common sense gun. Yeah, common sense gun control. That's another one they throw at you. Got about 30 seconds here. I'm giving you the last word, Doolin. You've made a great presentation so far.
Well, thanks. It's tough to compress, but the truth is, ever since I've started reading and learning about this topic, I started myself at the idea of why don't we have some compromises? There's got to be some stuff we can give the anti-gunners. And then the deeper you go into it, the more you realize there's no compromising with these people. You agree to do a deal and still keep the registry, which is ridiculous because it doesn't really help crime control. And then, they come along with this proposal to raise the tax to $4,000 to make it out of the reach of most people.
Right.
And that's kind of the norm in this debate.
Of course, it's out of the norm. Steve Doolin, he's out of the norm too, folks, in his brand new American Eagle jeans. Smartest, most talented man in the history of lawyers. All right, Doolin, we'll talk to you next week. I'm out of here. There you go. I'll take a break and be back on the Steve Gruber Show.
Confessions of...
I do admit it, I'm old. I got that part. I'm old enough to say I didn't even know who Sydney Sweeney was before this whole woke thing happened, right? And she's out there in her jeans and driving her Mustang and smoking the tires and this and that. I can tell you this, though. I don't look as good in those American Eagle jeans as she does. Can't quite get them on. Anyhow, Dunkin' following suit. Used to be Dunkin' Donuts, of course. It's just Dunkin' now. They come out with some hot dude, he's some model actor or something. I don't know this guy either. Good-looking guy. I got no issue with that. And he's sipping some summer drink, and he said, I became the king of summer, and all that happens. And I look this way with this great color because of jeans. And again, the left's going crazy. Here's the difference from not that long ago. You're seeing woke die a very public death. Thank God. But American Eagle, if they'd been attacked like this on social media a year or two ago even, they'd have pulled that ad, they'd apologize, all of them. We didn't mean to offend anybody. We're so insensitive. Now they're just saying, look at our money roll in. I mean, they are cashing in so big on this. They have gotten so much free publicity.
I heard it was $200 million, Steve.
Something like that. I mean, they're just cashing in huge. Have you been over to buy your jeans yet, Brock?
No.
Just checking.
I have not. I may have to, though. I mean, I can't make it look as good as Sydney Sweeney, who's At this point, probably the hottest woman in America right now.
Yeah, financially, at least, for sure. I mean, they're just, and Duncan doing the same thing. Nobody's surrendering anymore. That's what I'm saying. Woke is having this apoplectic death in the public square, thank God. Drive a stake in the heart of that monster. Please let it continue, because nobody's apologizing, nobody's pulling ads or saying, let's ride it. Let's ride that wave, which they're doing very, very well, and I'm very proud of them. So good for America for turning that corner of stupidity, and maybe it'll be infectious. Maybe we'll have more of this. Attractive people get to wear cool clothes again, not people that look like bowling balls because they're as wide as they are tall. Thank God. Victoria's Secret, calling Victoria's Secret, Wes Lexner, can you do that with your company too, sir? Let's put the hot back in Victoria's Secret as well while we're at it. All right, hot is hot again. Thank God. After the break, Eric Matheny will be here. He's a podcaster. Bob and Eric Save America. Great guy. He'll be up with me in just a moment. As I mentioned at the top of the show today, and I've mentioned a couple times since, for the first time in all of this, I actually think somebody might actually go to prison. We might actually see somebody get convicted and go to prison. Well, my next guest is an attorney, a podcaster, social commentator, and the co-host of Bob and Eric Save America. They're killing it. Eric Matheny is with me today. Eric, nice to have you here on the program.
Thank you very much. Good morning to you. Happy Friday.
Good morning to you. You're in the free state of Florida, but I went through this a little while ago, but I want you to weigh in on it. Look, I've never seen anything like it. Obama changed the entire narrative with the ICA, the Intelligence Community Assessment, went from the Russians not only didn't have the ability, but they weren't really that interested in it. They didn't care with the election of 2016 to, oh my God, the Russians did all these terrible things. It came from Hillary Clinton first to distract from her email disaster. Then it became part of the narrative when Trump won on the 8th of November. But here are some of the charges. I got this list. I'm not an attorney. I've hired many in my life for a variety of reasons. We'll get to that later. Conspiracy to defraud the United States, false statements to federal authorities, violations of the Federal Election Campaign Act, wire fraud, obstruction of justice, misprision of felony, but that's apparently knowing about felonies and not reporting them, Foreign Agents Registration Act violation, Hatch Act violation, the list goes on. I don't know if you're as optimistic as I am, but for the first time, Eric, I swear, I actually think somebody might go to prison over all of this. Maybe not Obama, maybe not Hillary, but Brennan, Comer, McCabe, Rice. I mean, there's a whole host of people here. What are your thoughts?
Steve, when I found this out, I felt a lot like I did when I found out the COVID vaccine kills you, that it didn't come from a wet market.
Right.
All things that we have been consistently right about for years and years and years, only to be vindicated years later. And it's not a moment to take a victory lap. This is tragic. This is horrific. This is infuriating. This is the kind of stuff where you wake up from a deep sleep at 3 a.m. and you go down the internet rabbit hole because you are so disturbed by what you saw, namely in the wake of all the January 6th hyperbole we had to deal with, that some grandmother wandering the Capitol Rotunda for 1 minute and 52 seconds put our lives and our republic in jeopardy. A former president, Barack Obama, and his heir apparent intentionally tried to sabotage an incoming president. And it wasn't just a campaign smear. It wasn't just an accusation. We endured this for years. Pretty much the entirety of Trump's first term was marred by Mueller. Marred by, oh my God, the walls are closing in. They're going to get him. People went to jail for this. General Flynn was convicted. George Papadopoulos went to jail. Granted, they have since been pardoned. But Steve, a pardon doesn't undo the hurt and the absolute nightmare that people go through when the federal government is after you. And Trey Gowdy said something the other day that made me just about as angry as when I learned that we had been right on this the whole time.
Right.
That prison isn't the only penalty. We can look to historical shame and judgment. I don't care how history shames or judges these people. I throw shame and judgment on these people every single day of my life.
Yeah.
They have to be punished. And
Look,
not so... What's up?
I agree with you. I believe Hillary Clinton should be in prison. I believe that James Clapper should be in prison. And I've never said it quite that strongly because there are a lot of moving parts in this, but you're exactly right. What you just said about COVID, about this is the crime of the century. There's just no two ways about it. This is the crime of the century. There was no peaceful transfer of power at all. The things that Democrats bump their gums about regularly didn't happen. They went after their successor. They tried to undermine him, destroy him every step of the way. They went and continued the attacks all the way to Mar-a-Lago and Melania's underwear drawer, for God's sake. They didn't quit because they needed information to continue to bury Trump. He defied gravity, politically speaking. He is now president of the United States. I don't think there's another person in this country that could have withstood. I mean, think about the pressure. You're an attorney. You understand clients that are under pressure. Think about the incredible, immense pressure every single day on this guy. He stood in there. God bless him, right?
It wasn't just that. It was the indictments, the impeachments, the investigations. My God, they tried to kill him on national TV, but for the grace of God, but for divine intervention, we would be enduring a Kamala Harris presidency.
Good God.
As we know it. And just to make light of the subject, we would not have a Sydney Sweeney Jean ad. We'd have some 350-pound man wrapped in a rainbow flag selling a product that is whatever you think. But
my God, that makes my Friday. That is a beautiful vision Eric has just painted here for us. A bowling ball as wide as they are tall, wrapped in a rainbow flag, pretending to be a woman. It's a beautiful thing. But you're right, all kidding aside. Somebody needs to be held accountable. And here's the thing. This can't be a special counsel that drags on for 2 years. We need swift action here. We have got... And I want to say something else here. Hear a lot about term limits these days. Well, thank God we didn't have them Because Chuck Grassley's been there about 6 terms. He's 90 years old. Chuck Grassley dug in on this deal, and he wouldn't let it go. And thank God that he has done his work and is now revealing all this stuff. What do you say about Grassley?
Well, look, he's kind of the elder statesman. He's been there a long time. I remember him during the Kavanaugh hearing and really had tremendous respect for him. Again, despite my personal feelings that someone should not be in Congress till they're 90 years old, he did what he was supposed to do. But, this is what the senators are supposed to do. Let's not congratulate fish for swimming, Steve. They need to be doing their job. This is what we elect them to do, to uncover this. And if they knew about it beforehand, they're just as culpable. But no special counsel, no Lindsey Graham letters, no investigations, because you and I and everybody listening and watching know that that's going to get us nowhere. And it's going to go on for 3-4 years, and it's just slowly going to disappear. There is more than enough evidence to send this to a grand jury this very afternoon. Send it to a grand jury. Let them decide. They indicted Donald Trump for telling your group to peacefully and patriotically have your voices heard. And I will raise a controversial point only on your show, Steve. If they attempted to steal the 2016 election, there is no doubt that they did steal the 2020 election, which would completely validate the actions of the January 6th protesters who had legitimate concerns that their republic was in jeopardy.
I think that's fair. Eric, I think that's exactly fair. And look, we know they played with the 2020 election. There were 20,000 fake driver's licenses confiscated at Chicago's O'Hare International Airport, created in China with actual names and actual addresses, August 2020. It was never about Russia. It's always been about our number one enemy, and that is China, my friends. If you don't understand that we're at war with China, they understand it. And maybe Russia plays around here and there, but it's always been China. And then you've got Soros connected to Debbie Wasserman Schultz, and this web of deceit spreads, Eric. And I hope to God we see some people get frog marched. I do. It's time. And I agree with you. Send it to the grand jury today. Not next week, not next year, today. About 60 seconds. I'll give you the last word.
Well, Steve, again, and I think I share the sentiments of most Americans, and certainly a lot of Democrats too, because the Democrats have probably one of the worst branding problems we've seen in our lifetime. They just can't seem to get a foothold anywhere. And this is what happens when you demonize groups of people. You make people think they're dumb, they're less than important. You emasculate. You need men. You need especially Midwestern, salt of the earth men, dare I say, white men. And you have abandoned them, and they're dealing not only with a critical branding problem right now. I think the whole torrent is going to unleash, and we're going to see the absolute corruption in how they tried to destroy this country. And but for Donald Trump,
I totally agree with that. Eric Matheny, please give him a follow on social media. If you're an Eric fan, give me a follow here on Twitter X and Facebook and Truth Social and all those great places. Look, we're trying to tell the truth out there today. And look, the other victim of all of this is actual journalism. Those people lied at MSNBC and CNN. We'll talk about that next time, because the dishonesty of the national news media is also criminal. Eric, thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
Back after this. Well, we're rounding out this hour, and we took a little vote during the break, just so everybody knows. We took a little vote. Next week on Free for All Friday, we're all going bare-chested. Apparently.
I didn't agree to this. Wait a minute. Sorry, I did not agree to this.
Wait a second. Time out.
That is mentally violating.
Well, there you go.
Good
All right,
morning,
Ivy.
Steve. Good morning.
Good morning.
I see you're very fired up, which I can understand.
Look, you have to laugh about some of it. You know how angry I am about all of this stuff because as it continues to pile out, what Eric and I were just talking about, Eric Matheny, he was great, by the way. He can come back anytime. Fun guy. He's got a lot going on. What is happening is, and he said it right, we're learning that everything we thought about COVID, because you remember back then, I was saying this did not come from a wet market. It came from this lab right here, and that was early in 2020. I had that circled. I talked about the numbers that we had that disease in this country as early as October of 2019. We talked about, you and I did a bunch back then.
Well, we'll just hold on a second. When we start to uncover all of these documents that have been released by Chuck Grassley and Tulsi Gabbard and the FBI.
And all the rest.
It really makes you wonder what's true. Was any of it true during the time of their presidency, during Obama's presidency, beforehand, during Hillary Clinton's run for president, and then during Biden's administration? It's really tough to say, was any of it true? And when I really go back and think about 2016, Trump's having all those rallies. Pretty much every rally, what are people chanting? Lock her up, lock her up. Hillary Clinton and the email scandal. And they buried it. They buried it to protect her.
Yeah.
And to destroy Donald Trump. That's what they did.
I think that's
and that is what Marxist countries do.
That's right.
Not this place that we call America. And every American citizen should be pissed beyond belief that this could happen, that I think it was even yesterday, Brennan went on a television show saying, we shouldn't be, using our intelligence communities to be political. I'm like, what? We know that you were involved. Are you that?
Exactly what they did.
Seriously.
You made a great point, though. What was real? Was any of it real? It's like you get out of a bad relationship and you find out that everything they were doing was a lie and they were cheating on you and everything else. That's what they were doing. Was any of it real?
But when you just take even little simple things like this, and Anthony, I want you to play that bite that I sent you from Chuck Schumer. Go.
Here's even something more confounding. Some breaking news. Just now, the White House announced construction of a $200 million White House ballroom that will begin in September. A $200 million ballroom. Where'd this money come from? Did Congress appropriate it? I don't think so. It's almost like Doge was never about waste at all.
President Trump and other donors have generously committed to donating the funds necessary to build this approximately $200 million structure.
So this is the deal. They consistently, the Democratic Party, perpetuate lies every single day. And I think that the American people are, quite frankly, sick of it.
I am. Exactly right. Every dollar, and by the way, if the government tried to build that ballroom, it would be $25 billion.
Exactly.
And it would be broken, and the water wouldn't work, and the floor would be crooked. But Donald Trump's
and it would take 10 years.
And it would take 20 years.
Right.
Almost said a bad word there. Look, the fact of the matter is they're going to do it for $200 million. He's going to get people to donate, and what a beautiful thing for this country. It's a gift, people.
Absolutely, yeah.
And Chuck Schumer is a reptile. Mm-hmm. Chuck Schumer is a low-life reptile. He hates this country. I heard Bill O'Reilly. I played it yesterday. Bill O'Reilly went off on Chuck Schumer. I don't like the guy. I think he hates America. I think he's disgusting. He doesn't believe in anything. He's enriching himself. Chuck Schumer can go away.
Who hasn't enriched themselves more than Nancy Pelosi?
Well, there is that.
Who is taking a tremendous amount of heat. And you're
so
making $170,000 or $175,000 a year, and you're worth hundreds
$413 million last year.
And if you look at the timeline
70%.
of when, she outperformed
everybody.
Warren Buffett outperformed the hedge funds.
Last year up 70%. 70%.
That's
she almost doubled her money.
Very suspect. Exactly. Yeah. That is knowing that things are coming and then placing those bets, buying those stocks before they skyrocket. Hello, it's not a genius to make kind of connect these dots.
So this whole Pelosi Act that they're trying to put through, so you can't have people in Congress buying something. So they just, hey, Bob, can you go ahead and pick up, 10,000 shares of what?
Right.
They're dishonest.
I always go back to this.
They'll find a way around it.
Anyways, there's one more bite. How much time do I have? Because there's
time.
I don't want you. I think it's a minute long, but we'll start to listen to this. I don't know if you heard it all. The comic. Okay, go.
Ivy, I did not have this one. I'm sorry.
Okay, can't you just go to the link and pull it up?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So we'll see if we have any enough time after this. But Biden is giving this speech at the the lawyers conference,
the Bar Association,
Bar
whatever,
Association.
yeah.
Thank you. And they're opening it up, and here it is. Here's what they're talking about. Here's what she says. Go.
For you today to be with us and to guide us, for we are traversing through extremely dangerous, treacherous, and even demonic evil times.
Yeah, I would agree.
So would
There's
I.
an attack on your people, Lord, just like the Israelites in Egypt. Spiritual wickedness in high places, have mercy.
Is she talking about the Democratic Party and Obama and what Hillary Clinton did?
She must be.
Hades.
That's what I'm thinking.
And we need
What else could she be talking about?
Help us be strong. Help us be courageous. Help us to fight for justice and to do what's pleasing in your sight.
Okay.
Help us to speak up.
But this is it's just like, what are you talking about? And to me, it's just another way that, the
Kids,
Democrats.
What this demonstrates, don't do drugs. Go ahead.
No, but.
Just terrible.
It's unbelievable. But I agreed with her. All of those things are true because that's exactly what the deep state did to President Trump.
Absolutely true.
It's really sad.
Ivy, glad to have you here as always. We're going to bring it around the corner here for the final thoughts of this hour. Thank you. Love you.
Love you.
All right, we're back after this on the Steve Gruber Show. All right, the numbers are out for the jobs report, plus 75,000 or something, but the government has revised down the May and June job numbers dramatically to 19,000 jobs in May and 14,000 jobs in June, declining almost 260,000. But again, I'm going to go back to what Ivy just said. Do you believe any of it? Do you trust any of it? And the answer is I don't know. Do you trust any of it? I don't know. I really don't. Because, look, the government is inside the government. They're always playing with the ability to try to hurt Donald Trump. They want to hurt Donald Trump any way they can. I'm just looking at the jobs numbers here, just trying to figure it all out. And here's what I do know. Gas prices are cheaper today than they were yesterday, last week, last month, and last year. Last year by about 50, 60 cents, depending on where you live, right? So that I know. The price of groceries, eggs and so forth is down. Now, I had some people get a hold of me from New York and say, look, the price of coffee is way up. Not for me. I'm going to give a shout out to Trader Joe's. I can still buy a nice sack of coffee for $5.99. It hasn't changed. $5.99 gives me enough coffee and look, we feed a lot of coffee around here. It's me, it's Ivy, it's Anthony, it's my daughter. It's a lot of folks who are sucking down the joy juice of coffee every morning, right? And so we're not really, I have not seen that price. Some people said chocolate is more expensive. Maybe it is. I don't eat a lot of chocolate. I like it, but it's not like I'm paying attention to the price of a Hershey bar. I'm not buying Reese's in the checkout line. Don't usually eat that sort of stuff, right? Anyhow, I think prices are better. We'll see what the jobs reports really mean. The fact of the matter is all of this investment into America, including Korea yesterday, $350 billion Korea is going to invest in America now that trade deal is in place. So a lot to talk about, but we'll have to wait until next time. Until then, fight the good fight and keep the faith. God bless America. I'm Steve Gruber. And remember, only you can save America.